What if I told you that the world's first epic story isn't about dragons, or magic swords, or distant galaxies, but about something far more terrifying? The fear of being forgotten. 4,000 years ago, in the ancient city of Uruk, a king began a journey that would become the first great adventure ever written down. His name was Gilgamesh, and his story still feels surprisingly modern. Gilgamesh was said to be 2/3 divine and 1/3 human. He was powerful, confident, unstoppable, the kind of ruler who believed the world existed to reflect his greatness. But strength without wisdom can become arrogance. The people of Uruk struggled under his rule. They prayed to the gods for balance, so the gods created someone extraordinary. His name was Enkidu. Enkidu began his life far from cities and temples. He lived among animals, ran across open plains, and knew nothing of kings or walls. He represented something ancient and untamed, humanity before civilization. But destiny had other plans. Through human connection and companionship, Enkidu left the wilderness behind and entered the world of cities. When he heard of Gilgamesh's overwhelming pride, he traveled to Uruk to confront him, and when they finally met, the city held its breath. They challenged each other in a contest of strength so intense that the ground seemed to tremble. Neither could overpower the other, and in that moment rivalry transformed into respect. Respect became friendship. It was the first time Gilgamesh had ever met someone who could truly stand beside him, not beneath him, and that friendship would change the course of history's oldest epic. Eager to make their names endure, the two companions set out on a bold expedition to the legendary cedar forest. The forest was protected by a mighty guardian named Humbaba. This was sacred ground, believed to belong to the gods themselves. The journey was long and filled with uncertainty. Gilgamesh experienced troubling dreams. Doubt crept in. But with Enkidu at his side, he pressed forward. When they confronted Humbaba, they overcame the guardian after a fierce struggle and returned with timber from the sacred forest, a symbol of their achievement. Their fame spread, but their actions had consequences. Soon after, the powerful goddess Ishtar turned her attention to Gilgamesh. She offered him love and partnership. Gilgamesh refused. Offended, Ishtar appealed to her father, the sky god Anu. In response, a celestial force known as the Bull of Heaven descended upon Uruk, bringing chaos and destruction. Once again, Gilgamesh and Enkidu stood together and protected their city. But in the world of ancient myth, every action echoes upward. The gods gathered to decide what balance required, and this time, the cost would be personal. Enkidu fell gravely ill. As his strength faded, he spoke of dreams filled with shadows, visions of a distant realm where all human journeys eventually lead. Gilgamesh watched helplessly as his closest companions slipped away. For the first time, the mighty king felt something he had never allowed himself to feel before. Fear, not fear of battle, not fear of defeat, fear of mortality. If Enkidu's life could end, then so could his own, and that realization shattered him. Consumed by the need for answers, Gilgamesh left Uruk behind. He set out across mountains and deserts in search of the only human said to have been granted eternal life, Utnapishtim. Long ago, the gods had sent a great flood to cleanse the world. Warned in advance, Utnapishtim built a vast vessel and preserved life. For this, he was given something no one else received, immortality. After an exhausting journey, Gilgamesh finally stood before him. He asked the question every human heart eventually asks, how can I escape death? Utnapishtim's answer was simple and devastating. Eternal life was never meant to be humanity's path. To demonstrate the limits of human endurance, he challenged Gilgamesh to remain awake for 6 days and 7 nights. The king, who had conquered forests and faced celestial forces, could not conquer sleep. He drifted off almost immediately. Even so, Utnapishtim shared one final secret, a rare plant growing in the depths of the sea, said to restore youth. Gilgamesh dove into the waters and found it. For a moment hope returned, but on his journey home, as he rested beside a spring, A serpent quietly carried the plant away, shedding its skin as it disappeared, a symbol of renewal that humans would never possess. And just like that, the dream was gone. Gilgamesh returned to Uruk with empty hands. No eternal life, no miraculous cure. But he was no longer the same man who had left. He looked upon the towering walls of his city, the temples, the streets, the civilization built by human effort, and he understood something profound. Human beings may not live forever, but what we create can. Our cities, our stories, our friendships, our legacy. The Epic of Gilgamesh is the oldest surviving story in human history, and at its core, it asks a question we still struggle with today. If life is temporary, what makes it meaningful? Gilgamesh set out to defeat death. Instead, he discovered something deeper. To be human is not to live forever. It is to live fully, and to leave behind something that outlasts you. And the fact that we are still speaking his name 4,000 years later, that might be the greatest victory of all.